Do you know, a plane once took off into the sky carrying 239 people, and it never came back? No wreckage, no bodies, no final message, just a vanishing, like the Earth swallowed it whole. Today, we unfold the chilling disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, the most unsettling aviation mystery in human history. Stay to the end, because the final minutes will leave you questioning everything you believe. It was March 8, 2014. A massive Boeing 777 departed from Kuala Lumpur, its destination, Beijing. The sky was clear, the flight was completely normal. Inside, the cabin was peaceful. Families were sleeping, kids were holding their teddy bears, and business professionals were probably just checking their last few emails before settling in for the long flight. At 1:19 a.m., the final words from the cockpit were spoken, and they were chillingly calm. Good night. Malaysian 370. There was no fear in the pilot's voice. No warning of what was to come. Not a single sign of danger. It was just an ordinary flight, minutes away from becoming a ghost. Just a few minutes later, the plane's transponder, the device that tells air traffic control where it is, just shut off. There was no announcement. No mayday call, no distress signal, just absolute, deafening silence. The plane simply disappeared from civilian radar screens. But military radar told a different story. It tracked the plane turning sharply off its designated flight path, as if someone had deliberately and manually redirected it. But who and why did the pilot suddenly lose control of the aircraft? Was it a high-stakes hijacking gone horribly wrong? Or did something much darker, something more sinister, happen in that cockpit thousands of feet above the ocean? The most terrifying part is this: after it vanished from sight, the plane kept flying. It flew for almost 7 more hours, completely silent, with zero communication. A phantom jet crossing the night sky. Where on earth was it going? This mystery triggered the largest, most expensive search operation in the history of aviation. Dozens of countries joined forces, deploying a massive fleet of ships, aircraft, and advanced satellites. They meticulously scanned millions of square miles of the Indian Ocean, a search area bigger than most continents. And what did they find? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No bodies, no seats, no luggage, not a single trace of the 239 people on board. Think about that for a second. A plane the size of a building, a giant metal tube weighing over 200 tons, had just vanished into thin air. How is that even possible? How does an object that big just disappear without a trace? Years later, a few pieces of debris did wash ashore on distant coastlines, and some were confirmed to be from a Boeing 777. But none could be definitively linked to the main fuselage, the body of the plane where the passengers were. And most importantly, the one thing that could tell us what truly happened, the black box, was never, ever recovered. Without it, the truth died somewhere in the depths of the ocean. This complete lack of evidence has given rise to theories that haunt the world, each one more chilling than the last. Let's look at the 4 big ones. First, the pilot's suicide mission theory. Some investigators believe the experienced captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, intentionally turned the plane around and flew it to its doom. But there's no solid evidence he planned such an act, and his family and friends insist he was a happy, stable man. Second, a hijacking. This seems plausible, but no terrorist group or individual has ever claimed responsibility. A hijacking without a demand, without a message. It just doesn't make sense. Third, catastrophic mechanical failure. Maybe an electrical fire broke out, disabling all communication systems. But how could a malfunction lead the plane to fly perfectly for another 7 hours on a new, deliberate-looking course? And then there's the 4th theory, the one that steps into the realm of the unknown. Radar data shows that MH370 flew toward an area where satellite signal coverage becomes unreliable. Could it have deliberately slipped through a blind spot of the Earth, a technological black hole, and landed somewhere undetected? Some even whisper that it crossed into another dimension, a tear in the fabric of time and space. Of course, science completely denies this. But with zero proof to say otherwise, the door remains open to even the most outlandish possibilities. A handshake ping to a satellite. This last electronic whisper placed it somewhere deep over the vast, empty expanse of the southern Indian Ocean, thousands of miles from any land. And then, nothing. No more data, no more signals, no more answers. 239 souls, along with their stories, their hopes, and their futures, disappeared forever into that dark blue void. The families of the passengers and crew still wait. Children have grown up without ever knowing what happened to their parents. Husbands and wives were left in a state of permanent uncertainty, unable to grieve, unable to move on. The sky remembers what happened that night, but it refuses to speak. MH370 wasn't just a plane crash. It became a wound in our collective history, a terrifying reminder that even in our hyper-connected, modern world of constant surveillance, the impossible can still happen. We are not as in control as we think we are. If you were the lead investigator on this case, with all the information we have today, what do you think happened to Flight 370? Let me know your theory in the comments below. I'll be reading every single reply. Thanks for watching.